Last year, I took 23 flights between work and traveling for fun, and the number one lesson that I learned was how much easier traveling becomes when you learn to pack light. I'm traveling to Mexico City in a few days for a part work, part fun trip, so I wanted to show you my exact packing process that lets me travel with just a carry-on and a personal bag, and still allows me to carry everything that I need for work, so my laptop, camera gear, vlogging gear, as well as cute outfits for every single day of my trip. I used to be somebody who would just open the largest luggage that I own and just start throwing clothes into it, hoping that I will have packed enough things to fulfill all the things that I need on my trip, which was honestly a very inefficient way of doing this. So now instead of jumping right in, I always start by doing some pre-packing planning. The first step for me is to create a general packing list. It doesn't need to be super detailed, but I try to at least figure out the main activities I'll be doing on the trip, whether I'll need any camera and vlogging gear, and the weather situation where I'm going. So I'll start by writing down the different activities or events. So for example, going to museums, coverage for rain, outdoor activity, and then brainstorming the key items I'll need for each scenario. For Mexico City, my intention for this trip really is to relax and get creatively inspired. So I'll be spending time in bookstores, libraries, art museums, and cafes, meaning a lot of stylish clothes, but also very comfortable clothes. I'll also be needing camera and tech gear for a collaboration I'm working on when I'm there, as well as any vlogging that I'll be doing. Once I have my rough list and some ideas on the outfits that I want to wear for these specific occasions and activities, then I dive into Index, which is an app that I've been using since the end of last year, I think. It's a super handy wardrobe cataloging app that allows you to catalog every single item of clothing, every shoe, every bag that you own, so that you can really easily plan for packing or just plan for outfits that you want to wear. When it comes to packing, Index really starts to shine because you can create a collection for whatever trip you're packing for. From there, you can either add outfits that you've already created in the past. So I've created 80 outfits from some of the clothes that I have just as I'm wearing them in my day-to-day. So I can add those to a trip, or I can create entire new outfits for that specific trip. And then what Index does is once you've created those outfits, it'll actually take all of the items that you included in your outfits and create a list with it. Sometimes I do get carried away creating outfits, and then suddenly I look at the items list and I have 5 jackets and 10 pairs of pants, which is unnecessary for any length of trip, really. So really, when I'm packing my clothes, I'm constantly referring back to Index. For the actual travel bags, I've been using the same travel bags for pretty much the last 2 years. For my personal item, I cannot live without my Longchamp travel tote. This is actually the expandable version, which is great for if you end up shopping a lot wherever you are, or you just want to bring some extra things home. You can actually expand this to nearly double the size, and then I'll just check this in or check my luggage in so that I have extra space. Even when it is not expanded, it fits quite a lot of stuff, and I love that the material is very light yet very durable. So for me, this is pretty much the perfect travel bag. Now, I will say this luggage is not the most versatile luggage you can buy, but this is my Rimowa carry-on. I am a huge fan of Rimowa for its quality, for its lifetime guarantee, and honestly for the aesthetic as well. But as far as practicality goes, I would say that the aluminum carry-on is not the most practical. I will say having my aluminum carry-on has pretty much forced me to learn to pack lighter because the structure of this luggage is hard, meaning there's no flexibility. I can't really overstuff it, and if I do overstuff it, it is hard on the clasp of the bag. Whereas if you're getting one of their poly bags with a zipper, or if you just have a plastic luggage already, you know that it can fit more just because it is a little bit more bendable. So before I start filling my personal bag and my carry-on, I think about where things should go. I don't know about you, but I hate going through security, so I want to make the process as seamless as possible. There's a few tips that I learned when it comes to where to pack certain things that really helps you go through security more smoothly. The first is if you have a tech bag that is going to be filled with wires and batteries and a lot of those types of things, put this in your personal bag. There's been a few times now where my bag has been pulled off the security belt into secondary, and I'm always wondering why. I have my liquids ready, I don't have anything suspicious suspicious, like I don't understand. And the last time that it happened, they actually told me it's because I have a lot of wires and it's just something that they have to look into. The other thing is making sure that your liquids limit is okay. I bought this little clear bag along with a bunch of these travel containers off Amazon, and I haven't had any issues putting all of my liquids just into this bag and then into my personal item. The other thing to consider is that some security do ask you to take out your laptop, so I always keep that in an easy to reach place in my personal bag so that I don't waste any time like digging for my laptop or retrieving it from my carry-on, and then I'm just ready to go through security as quickly as possible. So my personal bag will typically have my laptop sleeve, and I personally love this one from Moft because it's very thin, very light, but it is structured so that I can keep it on the side of my personal bag, and it almost acts like a built-in sleeve for my laptop. Like I mentioned, we're gonna put our tech pouch in here as well as our liquids pouch, and then other necessities that we want to have with us on the plane. So I always keep my vlogging camera. I think this time I'm just gonna bring my DJI Osmo Pocket 3. I have a little phone tripod. This is also from Moft. I have both my headphones and a pair of wired earbuds just in case. I always make sure I have a read with me. This time I'm just gonna bring my Kobo so that I have multiple books that I can read while I'm away. My journal always comes with me as well. This is my A5 Paper Republic portfolio, and inside of here I have my reading journal, my commonplace journal, as well as my daily journal. Another absolute must for me are my loop earplugs. These ones that I have are the Switch 2, so they're a 3-in-1. So there's 3 different settings to go from the quietest for when you're resting to the least quiet for when you need to engage or experience something. I think it's so cool that they're adjustable. They go from -17 decibels to -25 decibels. So really I can use these one pair of earplugs for absolutely everything. I bring this to the cafe sometimes when I am reading or when I need to get some serious work done. I bring these on the plane, obviously, because if there's a crying baby or I just want to like sleep without having my headphones on, these are what I use. The carrying case is super slick and it has this little loop, so sometimes I will just go ahead and clip these to my keys to make sure I don't lose them. It also has interchangeable silicone ear tips, so whether you have tiny ears like I do or larger ears, you're gonna find something that fits for you. I actually started using loop earplugs like mid-year, and I wish I got them earlier because I went to a festival in the beginning of the year and I bought those concert earplugs and they just sucked because it just blocked out too much noise. They were uncomfortable, they didn't fit my ear, and so having something where I can set it to be a little less quiet so I can still enjoy music or, you know, be in a room filled with people but just not have my eardrums be blasted off is honestly such a lifesaver. I also can't listen to music when I'm doing deep work because I find it to be distracting, but I love working from cafes. So I always take these with me now when I'm going to remote work because they allow me to work even in like the loudest cafe where they're blasting music and still be able to just like focus and hone in on what I'm doing. They have a ton of different styles and colors, but also a bunch of different earplugs for different reasons. So if you also feel like you've been needing to just mute things out a bit to focus or to sleep or to enjoy something, I would highly recommend checking Loop out. They're by far the best earplugs I have ever used, and I genuinely cannot live without them now. So I'll link to these exact ones in the description box below, but honestly they have a ton of different options, so I would highly recommend just like browsing their site and seeing what they have. That's everything that I'm putting in my personal bag for now. You can still see a ton of space in here, but I do like to leave some wiggle room for when I do start packing my carry-on, just so it gives me some leeway if I do want to bring some extra items. On to packing my clothes. This is where that prep work really comes in handy because now I have all of my outfits planned out in Index, the way that I want to wear them, but I also have all the items that I need to pack. So essentially I can just come into my closet and start pulling out the items that I need to pack and put them on my bed. So now that I have all the items that I want to pack, I can quickly look at whether there are certain items that I maybe don't want it to wrinkle or need to pack a certain way. So for example, I have these cotton pants, which I know do wrinkle kind of easily. So what we're going to do is actually roll that under a different pair of pants to give it more padding so that it doesn't get squished in our luggage. I am bringing quite a few tops, but all of these can roll up really small and they don't wrinkle easily. And that is honestly one of my best tips when it comes to packing and saving space, is to make sure that you are rolling your items rather than folding them. And I know a lot of people like to use packing cubes when they're packing, but personally, I think it's better without. When you're packing your clothes and rolling them up, I would recommend folding them once or twice before you start actually rolling them. This helps to make the rolled piece as small as possible, because the tighter you roll, the more space you save. And you can see how many more items I fit this way versus if I had just folded everything. I always put my clothes on one side of the luggage and then save the other side for everything else that goes into the carry-on. Here's a tip I learned the hard way: never pack an empty handbag. This bag is coming with me to Mexico City, but instead of letting it take up valuable luggage space, I'm stuffing it with clothes. I typically put lighter items like tank tops, t-shirts, etc. into the handbags, and this actually helps it keep its shape while maximizing every inch of space in my suitcase. I'll then Tetris it into the clothing side, and if you're worried about your bag scratching, you can even put the bag into a dust bag before laying it into your luggage. Shoes are always the trickiest part when I'm packing light because they're bulky and you can't really compress them. But here's what I do. First, I will stuff socks into any of the shoes that I don't want to be misshapen. Again, no wasted space. Then I put each pair of shoes into soft shoe bags. The key is soft shoe bags. I used to use hard cases that are a little bit more structured to protect the shoe, but the soft bags are key because they can mold around other items in your suitcase. On this same side, I'm packing my makeup pouch, any hair tools I might need, my tripod, pretty much all of the more rigid things. The clothing on the other side acts as padding for these items, and this also makes it easy for me to access specific items rather than randomly placing them into my luggage. And that's it. Everything that I need for Mexico City all packed up into a personal bag and a carry-on luggage. The key to packing light really comes down to three things for me: planning all of your outfits, strategically using all of the space within your carry-on and your personal bag, and bringing items that serve multiple purposes. Once you get a few trips of practice in, it's gonna start feeling like second nature, and the feeling of just having a carry-on is truly unmatched. You don't have to wait for your baggage, you never have to worry about it getting lost, and pretty much as soon as you hop off the plane, you're good to go. If you want to see what I did in Mexico City, I actually vlogged the entire trip pretty much over on my second channel, so I'll link that in the description box below. And of course, if you've been looking for a good pair of earplugs for the plane, for travel, for concerts, for work, would highly recommend checking out the Loop earplugs. I'll have that linked in the first line in my description as well. Thank you so much for packing with me today. I hope you're having an amazing day wherever you are in the world, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!